What's up, everybody? Um, this is my lunch break coffee talk, or lunch break cancer talk. Coffee talk, I don't know what I'm thinking. Anyway, today I am eating apples and celery. I don't know why, but sounded good. Ooh, I'm making a mess all over my mouse. Lovely. I wonder how this tastes with peanut butter. Peanut butter and apple. Oh, dang! I totally forgot about those. What do they call them? You ever remember those apples with caramel apples? Kind of tastes sort of like a caramel apple. What kind of neat. Yeah, so speaking of food and eating, I was going to talk about. I didn't make my list, I know. I should have made my list of what I'm going to talk about. And I didn't. Just because I've been super busy. But sure, everybody's been busy, kind of deal. So one thing that, at least for me, that happened is once I was diagnosed with a cancer, my eating habits changed, or what I ate changed. I still eat junk food occasionally, but I definitely try to cut out the sugars. Cut out the sugars, cut out the alcohol. I haven't drank any kind of alcohol in over a year. Which is crazy. That's something I wish I would have done a long time ago. I could have stopped drinking alcohol way back 20 years ago. I wish I would have. But you live and learn. Well, so on. But so there's a few things. One is like, if you're, as far as like handling the cancer and the cancer treatment, one thing I realized is you don't want to be too lightweight and you don't want to be too heavy. Pancreatic cancer eats up a lot of energy. That's why you lose a lot of weight really fast with cancer. I thought, originally before I found out that I had cancer, I'd stopped drinking. And I thought I was losing the weight because I stopped drinking. But, which was part of the case, but it wasn't all of the case. Little did I know. I had the pancreatic little demon hiding out in the background. I'm going to munch away my energy. But, with that being said, I found for me that if I'm too light, it's really hard to recover. But if I'm too heavy, it feels like it just feeds the beast. You feel sluggish. Even no energy when you eat too much. I've slowly gotten away from eating cereals. But I found that that's one that really impacts me. Oh man, these apples and peanut butter are freaking awesome. I don't know why I didn't do this before. I always liked the celery and peanut butter, but now it's apples and peanut butter. That's freaking amazing. So, I've heard different stories. People have tried fasting, which I've done that a lot too, which seemed to help. You'd be surprised what fasting does to you, because if you think about it, right? So, you are what you eat. So the more that you're feeding into yourself, more toxins, poisons, whatever are feeding into yourself. And by fasting, it kind of allows you to imagine like going and getting an oil change in your car. You're kind of getting all that stuff out of your system and starting over. Then, okay, so I felt like in my life I've been pretty healthy and whatnot, but again, my parents eat whatever they want to eat. My mom doubles down and she'll eat whatever she wants to eat plus one or plus two. So, I don't know. It makes you wonder sometimes about, is what you eat's good for you, bad for you? My dad, he eats these frozen burritos, and then they eat, those little Oscar Mayer hot dogs. They eat a lot of hamburgers, pizza. And here I am trying to eat all healthy, and who's the one that has the disease? See? So I don't know if really any of this stuff really matters. At some point. Anyway, I keep doing it. What is like, I wonder what my sister is. So, I think I mentioned in one of my earlier videos, my sister had breast cancer, or just recently had breast cancer. I was diagnosed last year with pancreatic. My sister has breast cancer. She had that removed, and now she's on treatment. I think hers is radiation. I wouldn't want to do radiation. That shit's nasty. Oh, so is chemo, but all of it's nasty. Any kind of treatment is nasty. Unless they're able to just kind of somehow stick a little needle in the side or something like that where they can cut it out. Like a microscopic needle, which I'm sure they do. But when I'm drinking sodas, my dad pounds the Pepsis. He drinks probably more Pepsi than I drink coffee. Or actually even more than I drink water. He buys it by the pallet load, he should, or did at one time. Anyway, let me see if I can find a YouTube video to look at. I know some popped up with eating. That's kind of what I got on the subject about eating. Let's see. I don't know if you guys, I think I mentioned it in one video too, is I do a lot of, let me see if I put this in over there. I do a lot of, let's see if I can listen to this. Listen to a lot of tones when I sleep. I did mention that. But when I sleep, I just put my iPad next to my bed and run this stuff. And I don't know if it does anything, but it sure feels like it in the morning. It allows me to go to sleep better and wake up better. Well, you can find these on YouTube. You can find them on YouTube. They run, like, some of these will run like all night kind of deal. Wish I could have just did that. Yeah, so the main one I run is the 432, which I got a thing with that because well, if you've ever watched Nikola Tesla, I know it's random stuff and there's whatever you call it. But Tesla came up, he liked the numbers 3, 6, and 9. And when you add these numbers together, would equal 9. So there was something about this frequency that meant a lot. Well, I don't know, again it's random stuff, but just stuff I'm doing, I do. Let me try to see if I can find a different video to look up. And we can talk about. You know, if you guys have anything you want to talk about, cancer related, or questions you want to ask me, just ask me. You know, I don't mind telling you. One of my coworkers has shared a channel. Actually, let me talk about that. Let me see if I can find the link. He shared a YouTube channel with me, and a popular YouTuber. See if I can find the YouTube link. These guys. Well, I'm not going to go over the whole video or anything like that, but he shared this guy's channel with me, the Vlog Brothers. And I guess they've been around YouTube for a long time. And one of the guys had cancer. I don't know if it's this guy, I didn't really look into, or the other brother, but he ended up selling socks, which I thought was interesting. Which I think the socks gave back to something, yeah. So they donated back to 100% of the profit went to charity, which I thought was interesting. So I've seen a lot of YouTube, or not YouTubers, but people that with cancer do this. They end up, like, once you get diagnosed, some reason you want to give back, or help other people, or bring awareness to cancer. And so this was kind of something that was interesting. I mean, like I said, this guy was another YouTuber. Okay, maybe we'll play their video and see what he's talking about. And natural cancer treatments. I'm not doing any natural. I'm on chemo myself. But let's see.
It was one of the first cancers that was shown to be really responsive to both chemotherapy and radiation. So even though chemotherapy sucks, I knew we were going to do that. Chemotherapy targets cancer cells really specifically, but not so specifically that it doesn't also get a bunch of the good guys. But I was 100% on board with chemo, and it's...
Real quick. I mentioned in another video about how chemo gives me neuropathy for one, another thing called hand-foot syndrome. But I've noticed that another thing is that it makes my makes my fingernails kind of brittle. And I say it does that to anything bone related. Maybe it's my fingernails, my toenails, my teeth. So it has me kind of scared at times that yeah, I could break something. I'm used to breaking a lot of bones, so I can only imagine now how much that affects me. But anyway, I'll go back to this video.
Definitely extended my life. It's probably saved my life, and I'll die of some other thing. And 3 out of the 4 chemo drugs that I was on are natural. They're from nature. Vinblastine comes from the Madagascar periwinkle. It's just in a cute little flower. It was known to the indigenous people in Madagascar. Scientists checked it out and found that it had a bunch of anti-cancer properties. Another one, Adriamycin, also called doxorubicin, was found in microbes in the soil at the base of an Italian castle. The third, bleomycin, was also found in a soil microbe called Streptomyces verticillus. Soil microbes have been known for centuries to have antibacterial properties. People would pack leaves with specific soils because they knew that those soils would prevent infection. They didn't know why, but they knew that they would. And the reason why is that a lot of bacteria produce antibiotic compounds to compete with other bacteria. And it turns out a lot of antibiotics are also good chemotherapies because they work by messing with cells' ability to replicate themselves. Streptomyces verticillus was never used in traditional medicine as far as we know, but all three of these molecules are both natural compounds and very effective chemotherapies for Hodgkin lymphoma, and some of them for other things. And they've been tested, not just to see if they're effective, but what doses are most effective, which cancers they are most effective against, how dangerous they are, what side effects are most common, how they affect women versus men, how they affect people based on their age, their efficacy at different stages of cancer, how long you can safely take them, which side effects are most serious, and how to minimize those complications both in the short term and the long term. Because when we're talking about chemotherapy side effects, we're not just talking about puking this week, which is a big deal, but we're also talking about long-term potential damage like lung scarring or cardiac effects or secondary cancers. Cancers are not chill. Treatments usually have to be high impact because these are high impact and sneaky diseases. And so it's kind of amazing that we are in this point in history where a lot of these medicines have been tested in a lot of different ways to see what their best dosing schedule is, to see how little you can take without increasing the chances that the cancer will come back, and know how to be prepared for potential side effects. This is the slow, careful, tedious work of medical research. And it made the cancer treatment that I've been through way less awful than it would have been just 10 years ago. During the time when I was publicly living with cancer and talking about cancer treatment, I received almost universally good vibes. I just want to be clear about that. People were amazing. But I did get some folks who would come to me and say that I would have a better outcome and be healthier if I took a more natural route, by which they meant that I should not be doing chemotherapy. There was also a second set of things that happened, which is that people would take my words and then they would move them over into their social media feeds in some way. So they wouldn't be talking directly to me, they would be talking about me. And those people were a lot less polite. Those people were creating content around me about how my decisions were bad and about how you should do something different if you ever have cancer or if you currently have cancer. I know that the right thing to do is to not let the anger that I felt about that show in how I talk about those people. So I'm trying to do that. But the question becomes, if most of my cancer treatment came from nature, what do they mean when they say that I should be doing more natural treatments? I gotta be clear here too. When it comes to like Epsom salt baths and acupuncture during chemotherapy, yes, I'm in favor of all of that. If you want to do it and your doctor is telling you it's not going to do any harm and you feel like it's going to do good, do it. I took Epsom salt baths. I don't know if it was any good.
I'm trying to think of the Epsom salt bath. It's hard to, well, not hard to take a shower, but man, I'd like to get a warm shower, a warm bath and soak in there, but I'm funny, like I was saying with the hand neuropathy thing and all that. When I come out, man, my hands are all weird. I did a hot bath when I went to Japan. Oh, it's so weird how it affected my body. Because you get the, like the numbness would go up your fingers and it went deeper just soaking in the tub. And yeah, it's so weird feeling. But anyway, yeah, back to this guy's video.
Good, but it was like a chance to take a big long bath and feel like I was doing something for myself. And there are also supplements that we know don't hurt and we think might help. Like I took fish oil, I took vitamin D, I took magnesium, especially the magnesium I think helps. I was getting muscle cramps. That cleared up after I took magnesium supplement, as long as you're talking to your doctor about it and it doesn't look like there's negative consequences. I say do it. There are some things that look like they might have some positive effect, but nothing has a positive effect like actual cancer treatment. So skipping those actual cancer treatments in favor of natural treatment makes me wonder, what do you mean by natural? And here it is, and I'm not sugarcoating this. I don't know a nicer way to say it. When we say natural cancer treatment, what we mean is something that either we don't know it works, or we know that it doesn't work, or that we know that it does more harm than good. That's the only things that we mean when we say natural cancer treatment, because otherwise a natural cancer treatment would include the 3 compounds from nature that I put in my body to cure my cancer. The majority of cancer cases on Earth, and an even greater majority of cancer deaths on Earth, happen outside of high-income countries. Those people don't die of cancers because they don't have access to coffee enemas or cannabis oil or apricot pits. They die because they don't have access to chemotherapy, radiation, surgery, and screening. It's just obviously true. It's just...
I will say this, like, when I got diagnosed, first thing I didn't know what to do. Didn't know where to start, nothing. Most people don't. Because it's just a shock unless you've been, been through it. I mean, I kind of was through it with my wife's dad, but all I know is if I didn't get the chemo right away, anyone says I wouldn't be here. That's how bad it was. They have a blood count thing. I can volley my phone. Let me show you. For pancreatic cancer, they have a marker, what they call a marker. When they do a blood test, they can test to see how active it is. I don't know how many doctors rely on this or anything. For me, it was a good thing to look at. Well, made me feel good. Either way, it just made me feel good looking at this number. Whether or not it's correct or not, I don't know, but my chart. Let me see if I can log into it. I don't know if it'll have my beginning numbers, but this is a number that I guess correlates to how active the cancer is, which is CA19. I don't know if I can show you, but there you go. That's the cancer marker, or I don't know what, it's not actually called hydrogen antigen. Anyway, this is to show you how active it was. So back in the beginning, you can see where it was pretty active, and then at one point it was 24,000, and now we're sitting at 40. So, yeah, pretty crazy drop. Every time that went down, it made me feel better. Or I felt better. Well, looks like I may have to bounce. I'm getting the emails. In a minute. I'll try to finish this video and then jump back on my work stuff.
It's not something that I think people who talk about natural cancer treatment and avoiding chemotherapy think about ever. While I was feeling like garbage while on chemo, I designed a bunch of socks. And then my friends picked the top 8 that they liked the most. It was one of the only things I felt like I was capable of doing creatively with my brain in the state that it was in. They're comfy and cozy and stylish and fun patterns, and they all use the exact same color scheme, so if you want, you can mix and match to have a little fun, and 100% of the profit goes to increase access to cancer treatment. Cancer treatment does often suck. Absolute. And also, I feel so lucky to be alive in this time, in this place, so that I can have access to it. 10 years ago, my treatment would have sucked more. 30 years before that, it would have been horrible and probably caused me lifetime disability. 30 years before that, it would not have existed. And yet there are people on the earth right now for whom that same reality of 80 years ago in the US is their reality now. We don't have to live in a world like that. And also, we don't have to live in a world with boring socks where the profit goes to some stranger somewhere. These socks are going to be available for a long time, but this is the last day for standard shipping with guaranteed delivery by Christmas Eve. So if you want to buy them for somebody else, now is the time. That's also the case for everything else at Good.Store and BHCBA.com. For people in the US. International, all bets are off. If your style or the size that you want is sold out, you can sign up to get a notification. I suggest you do that. I actually went to the warehouse this week and made a bunch of boxes and passed a bunch of orders. It was a good time. John, I'll see you on Tuesday.
Wow. Well, guess that's that. But yeah. Um, Cancer sucks, and yeah, definitely same thing. Like, had I not got the treatment I got, I don't know if I would even be here. So I'm still battling it. I'm going to continue battling it, but anyway, that's it for today's coffee talk. Thank you, Chris, for sharing the link with me. Those guys, maybe I'll put it in a chat or something. I don't know. Anyway, peace out.